There is a crazy storm outside. Don't know if you can hear it. Lots and lots of rain. Science of sleep. You know, when people ask you what is one health belief that you had that has changed over time, the one that is probably the biggest one for me is that I once believed sleep was the most important health pillar. To be honest, I don't believe that anymore. And based on all the reading I've done over the years, my view has drastically changed towards sleep. Stay tuned to see what I've discovered about sleep, and I'll explain to you what I mean.
Go to concerts with your great-grandchildren. That's amazing.
Fear itself is a tremendously powerful lever. And when I say a lever, I mean a chemical lever.
It's not that they don't get heart attacks. They just don't get them when they're 65.
That a regular gratitude practice can enhance many, many aspects of our physical and mental health.
I mean, there is simply no better elixir for metabolic health than being active.
Oh, the rain has died down. So sleep isn't as important as I once believed. I don't even think it's a pillar in our health pillar spectrum, alongside nutrition, exercise, and lifestyle. I actually believe it is the base on which these pillars stand. Makes sense now, right? What do I mean? Well, simply put, your health is built on good sleep. You can think of sleep as a pillar similar to food and exercise, but what these are actually dependent on rather than as a part of. But let's dig into sleep more so you understand what I mean. Did you know that the quality of your sleep could be a bigger influence on your lifespan more than diet, exercise, or genetics? But your health quality doesn't start when you fall asleep. It starts when you wake up. Weird, isn't it? A lot of people overlook this critical point that will probably dramatically increase your sleep quality. Stay tuned till the end so I'll explain to you what that is specifically. Sleep is more complex than just closing your eyes. There are multiple stages, each playing a unique role in our health. I'll break down the stages for you, but I don't want to go into too much detail. But suffice to say that we have 4 stages. So the first stage is known as the non-rapid eye movement, or NREM, and this is where you start to fall asleep, your heart rate starts to decrease slightly, and your muscles start to relax, and your breathing decreases as well. That usually lasts several minutes. The second stage of your non-rapid eye movement is where you go into even deeper sleep, and this is where your growth hormone starts to be produced within the body. And this stage is characterized by your heart rate slowing even further, your breathing, and your muscles become even more relaxed. This stage is typically the longest of the 4 sleep stages. Now, the third stage of your non-rapid eye movement, or your NREM, this is the stage that plays an important role in making you feel refreshed and alert the next day. Heartbeat, breathing, and brainwave activities all reach their lowest levels in your sleep, and the muscles are as relaxed as can be. Now, this stage will be longer in the start of your sleep, and then eventually will decrease as more cycles are done. The final stage, which is your rapid eye movement, or your REM, this is where dreams usually happen and will occur about 90 minutes after you fall asleep. And it's called rapid eye movement because your eye does move back and forth under your eyelid. This is where the dreams happen as well. Now, as opposed to the other stages, your breathing rate, your heart rate, and your blood pressure will begin to increase in this stage. And the duration of each REM sleep cycle increases as the night progresses. Once we understand those 4 stages, we need to understand that these happen in blocks. These 4 stages will repeat cyclically throughout the night until you wake up. For most people, the duration of each cycle will last about 90 to 120 minutes. So why is sleep important? Sleep affects brain and body function. Sleep impacts everything from our cognitive functions to our physical health. It's truly amazing how interconnected our sleep patterns are with our overall well-being. So this is why when I say it's the foundation or the base of good health and not an actual pillar in it. The opposing side to not getting good sleep, poor sleep, has a profound impact on both physical and mental health. There are some key areas where insufficient or poor quality sleep can have detrimental effects. Cognitive function, mental health, cardiovascular health, immune function, and metabolic and weight control. All these are and can be affected by consistently bad sleep. It can also contribute to hormonal imbalances, even diabetes, and contributing to cancer. We understand now the implications on our health. So how much sleep do we actually need? By age group, it does differ, and younger people, kids, teenagers usually need more. but adults, generally speaking, need about 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night consistently. Let's delve into the science that explains why this range is crucial and why maybe 6 hours isn't enough. 7 to 9 hours of sleep allows the body and brain to complete enough cycles that we talked about before of deep and REM sleep, ensuring that all the necessary restorative processes are done. Things such as muscle growth, tissue repair, protein synthesis, and growth hormones are all integrated into those cycles. So when we sleep less, these cycles become less effective and start to affect our process of recovery. And it affects us being able to deal with diseases such as cancer, because the sleep is where we're able to deal with any problems within the body. So from my own experience, and improving my sleep has had profound effects on my overall health. Once I've improved my sleep and been consistent with it, I've seen improvements in my focus and in my energy levels, and that was just the beginning of it. By understanding and respecting the sleep cycles, I adjusted my habits to be able to optimize my sleep patterns. The next part, I'm going to talk about things that I actually did to help me optimize my sleep. Some things that really did impact were having a very dark room where all the lights were blacked out, making sure it was as quiet as possible, that there was no noises that I was able to hear, and being able to stick to a consistent schedule where I would go to bed and wake up every single day, including weekends, which really did help. But the one thing that did impact it the most, and this is the surprising thing that people don't realize, was what I did when I first woke up. And what I did was I ensured that I got at least 2 to 3 minutes of sun exposure as soon as I woke up. This did two things for me. The first thing was that it released cortisol naturally to help me wake up. The second thing, it starts my internal timer for melatonin to be released in my body about 12 hours later, which preps my mind and body for sleep later on in the day. This was honestly a game changer when it came to falling asleep. So now that we've explored sleep stages and the impact on our health, let's connect the dots to see what you can do to help optimize your sleep based on your personal experience. Now, I'm only going to suggest things that I've actually tried and I've seen them actually work, but everybody's different and what works for me might not work for everybody else. The first thing you need to do is, as soon as you wake up, like I just said, you need to get sun exposure. That means getting sun into your eyes. Don't look at the sun directly, obviously, and I hope people don't do that. But what I want you to understand is that being exposed to the sun, not behind a window, is so critical for you to set things up for the next stage of your sleep. An added bonus to that would be doing something that elevated your heart rate, maybe skipping or going for a walk or a short run for 10 to 15 minutes, which will allow your cortisol levels to go up as well. So what I do, and this helps me hit a few birds with one stone, is I get up and I do my zone 2 training, which is a very light cardio session for about half an hour. I do it in the sun, which allows me to get my vitamin D, get my sun exposure in my eyes like I just talked about. So now the question is going to be for people that either wake up before the sun comes up or live in areas that the sun comes up much later. And this is where you need to get a light or an artificial light which mimics what the sun can do for you. It's not the same as the sun, but it will get you as close as you can to that. And these are called light therapy lamps. And I'll put a link or an example of that in the show notes below. The second thing I do is, an hour before bed, stop using any screens, including the TV. And this is a very hard habit to break, and I'm still guilty of doing that. But you need to stop doing that an hour before, or if you are going to do that, then you need to get a blue light blocker, or which are glasses that blocks the blue light from any devices that you're using. The third thing that I do is, once you get into bed, make sure that the room is cool. All right, the colder the better, and you block out any possible light sources, including lights from the AC units, clocks, or the windows. Aim for maximum blackout. Finally, and this is very important, and anybody that's had kids will understand that creating a routine around bedtime, which could include having a shower before you go to bed, reading, meditating, or even doing some breathing exercises, that will set your body to understand that the next stage of things are going to bed. Now, other things that I do, not all the time, but when I feel falling asleep is getting more difficult, and I've said this in the previous video that I've released about supplements and the supplements I take. I'll link that up somewhere here. But basically, there are certain supplements that help your body to disconnect in terms of your thinking process and allow you to go into deeper sleep. And I found that these 3 supplements do help. Magnesium L-Threonate and Apigenin and L-Theanine, which all helps your body go into a relaxing state where you're not overthinking things and you're allowed to relax and fall into deep sleep. I will put the details of that in the notes below so you can see the exact dosages and what brands I recommend. I have no affiliation with them, so I'm just putting what I use. I also utilize a sauna, and it's important to helping the body fall asleep. By increasing the body temperature, it allows us, once we're ready for bed, that the body brings down the body temperature by a few degrees to allow us to go into deep sleep. I've also known, but I've never had a problem with this, that people have used eye masks to block out any light, and they've used earplugs to block out any noises as well. I don't use them, but again, you need to find what works for you and puts you into a long, deep sleep as consistently as possible. The other thing that I've noticed that people kind of misjudge is the amount of caffeine that they're having. And there are some people that are super sensitive to caffeine, but regardless of which person you are, even if you think you can have caffeine and go to bed, it usually means that you don't go into deep sleep. And I do have a video about caffeine, which I'll link somewhere here as well. But what I'm trying to get to is that if you are sensitive to caffeine, I would cut out your last cup of coffee or tea or whatever you're having by 11 or 12 o'clock. And most people should be stopping it well before they go to bed. So probably about 6 hours before they want to go to bed. For us to recap now, the quality of sleep, especially achieving a balance in sleep stages, is the foundation that health is built on. Without good sleep, everything falls apart and you can significantly impact your lifespan. Every night is a new chance to improve your sleep and in turn enhance your life. I will link a whole bunch of other resources, videos and books that I would suggest that you read about it, because it's going to be impossible to cover this topic in one video, and there are people that are far more well-read and versed in this subject that is important that you guys listen to and understand what they're trying to say. So thank you for joining me on this journey to better sleep and healthier, longer life. If you are finding this video helpful, as usual, please give it a thumbs up, share it with friends and family that you know are suffering from bad sleep, and subscribe for more insightful content. And don't forget, I'd love to hear which sleep tips you try and if they work or don't. And don't forget, I'd love to hear which sleep tips you try and if they actually work for you. And if you have anything that I haven't mentioned here, please put it in the comments below. So I'll see you guys in the next video, and we are out.